not exactly hidden. He looked over the remains of the beaten and emptied facility. Everything was already over, knocked out of the park, and however else you'd want to say it. It was done. A nightmare decades in the building snuffed out like the flame of a candle. The horrors that haunted his dreams, the gnawing bitterness and darkness in his soul, dealt with and done. He was free, truly free, and it felt far emptier than he had hoped it would be. There was no sudden warmth in him, no feeling of deep satisfaction that would sustain him, just a gnawing question of why did he not do this sooner? Why didn't anyone do this sooner? Why did he have to be part of the rescue party? Didn't he deserve rescue? Why did he have to save himself and then toil for years to worm his way in and weaken things? The sensations churn and boil through him. More than anything, he's confused. He had expected it to feel so good, for justice to be better than anything, better than the drugs, the memory of schleppe or sex. But if anything, it was just more weight to carry. It had been so easy. If he had the fucking sense to get help earlier, he could have had this happen years ago, and perhaps the years of regret and suffering wouldn't have happened. Would it though? Everything went so well, and now he's just left with questions as to how the hell things had gone so wrong before, or why he or no one else did anything before. "Stop that," Pukey says from behind him, and Jacob Schreiktalon turns. He hadn't heard the cyborg enter the room. "Stop what?" "I know what you're going through, believe me." Pukey offers, tapping his synthetic eye with his prosthetic hand. "You're a planner, perhaps not naturally, but you've learned to be one. And for a planner, there's nothing worse than the after-mission blues, where you're stuck just thinking about how you could have done things better. If you had just a scrap of more information, or were a hair's breadth faster or strong enough to lift just 1 more gram, then maybe things would have turned out even better. Even when you win, you can't stop mentally poring over every mistake, possible mistake, and obstacle completely out of your control, and wonder, how could I have stopped this? Sadly, it's very normal, and it only grows stronger. "At least tell me there's an upside somewhere," Jacob asks, and Pukey grins. "Everything has an upside if you're willing to look for it. The biggest one here is that due to your brooding on what you could and could not have done better, you will do better and better each time. You're growing stronger. It's not a pleasant process, but it is a necessary one, especially as your application to the Undaunted has been approved," Pukey says, holding out a data pad to Jacob, who takes it. "I'm set to go to Zalwari with my ship?" "Yes. You got some attention as someone who was able to procure resources and run a counterintelligence and sabotage operation by yourself for a decade. Couple that with a ship already sized for some of the biggest races in the galaxy, and it looks to me like they want to set you up as the brains behind the sheer brawn of a Titan squad." "The what?" "Titan squads are our biggest and most physically imposing soldiers. We start with bull canidors, and that's the standard. Meaning any other race has to use axiom-based growth, a technique we learned from the Apuk, to grow to the same general mass of a bull canidor. You then increase your strength and endurance to ludicrous proportions and strap on power armor. By the time all that's done, the average Titan is a hard counter to most armies alone and is a one-man siege operation. Would I have to grow that big? I don't think I'd fly so well when I'm the size of an air car. They can get away with it, but they got anti-grav engines. I just got feathery wings. No, a Titan alone is scary. A Titan with scouts, backup snipers, and someone actively sabotaging the enemy's counters is effectively unstoppable. You've got good fire control and can take orders. Couple that with your initial blitz on the first holding facility, and we have a good idea at how you fight. You're a skirmisher. Get in fast, give the pain, and get out before they can hit back, preferably leading them into a place where your friends can jump on them, like, say, a bull canidor or Lydris in power armor." Pukey explains, and Jacob can't really stop himself from grinning as he imagines it. So, they're going to revamp that little cutter into a ship like yours? Mine's a little small. Not by much. My ship only has about 100 meters on yours. Most of it is storage space, as is yours. You were willing and able to transport thousands of people on your little ship. Not to mention most of the major restructuring is already done. As a Lydris vessel, its internal chambers are big and accessible. Not to mention it's rated to go underwater and to also contain water, meaning it's incredibly enduring from both sides. So long as there's no containment breach, that means you've got a ship with a lot of armor on it, space for supplies, soldiers and captured targets, and the sheer robustness of Lydris ships means that it may be a little underarmed now, but can easily have a nice suite of lasers and plasma installed. Won't I be required to stand witness? Jacob asks. That's several years out at this point. There's simply that many people to prosecute. Witnesses don't come in until the third round of trials, Pukey says, and Jacob lets out a sigh. Do you want to put your life on hold for even another minute because of those people? No, they don't deserve another second of my life. Good man. Come on. I find that getting some practice in on the gun range really helps me calm down after a big mission. Does everyone feel this empty? It's not empty, it's critical. You're self-critical. Basically, you have to learn how to evaluate your own actions honestly and not beat yourself up about it. Everyone needs criticism, but no one really likes it. Pukey answers, and Jacob lets out a little hum. Come on, you'll feel better putting holes in hollow targets. Pukey tells him, and Jacob follows. She takes a deep breath and considers. There is so much going on, and the sheer horde of mothers looking for their children is massive. She has the numbers, though. Despite all the rushing and excitement and happy reunions, some will be left behind. Tragically, some have no one to claim them. Sons without mothers or fathers, boys without brothers or uncles or aunts or anything to call their own. Of course, with the searches and calls going to siblings and grandparents and great-grandparents and so on, the number of children who did not have someone coming was much smaller than originally predicted. But it was still more than 1,000 children they were looking for a home for. 1,000 children who would soon have the crushing and horrifying realization that they had no one but her. She would have to be enough. No, I will be enough. I do this not for myself, but for another. She tells herself as she can feel her will hardening. She stands up straighter than she has in days. Before it was simply poised to look the part, but now she was squaring her shoulders for a challenge. Alara Salm the Younger would confront her mother and best her. She willed it. It has already happened. All that comes next is the tedium of reality catching up to truth. She activates the terminal. It's connected to the bridge of the chainbreaker. She punches in a very, very private code she had memorized so long ago that she would see glimpses of it in day-to-day life. It was written in modern Cinder to spell out classic Cinder tongue. It was in the old shell military code and phonetically spelled out the effectively extinct East Xartha language. Back from well before the unification of Serbo or its contact with the stars, a language older than some entire species, so old it wasn't on any modern key binding in one piece, so unused that no one bothered to ever try and program it in. The entire code was actually a passage, a treatise of philosophy from the family library, a truth that was apparently held dear by the family, not that Alara had actually had much chance to see for herself, not before now. Tilda. The chains of commanding are as wind, light and easily borne and nigh on impossibly heavy and violent. To be born to bear them is the vilest curse and the most wondrous blessing that may be conceived. To be born to rule is to be born to suffering and to be great. It is your most important duty of all to be a great success and never a great failure, for the chains of commanding treble all victories and multiply defeat 1,000 times over and 1,000 times again. She would not fail. Not any of them. Not for any reason. She might not be one of the undaunted, but she was ready for the task and fit for it. Whether reality agreed or not was inconsequential. She would succeed. The call goes through and there's a pause. From both of them, Alara did not expect to catch her mother without makeup on or her hair expertly done up. But she's barefaced and has her hair up in a simple ponytail. Perhaps she had been exercising. "My daughter, are you all right? Where are you? Are you safe? What are you wearing?" "Mother, please calm down," Alara says, holding a finger to her lips. "The children are taking a nap." "Children? What children? What's going on? Are you safe?" "I am in the bright forest of Lilb Tulelb. The sorcerers have made the dark forest breed, and it now has a child upon this world. Mighty it is, but different, so very different," Alara says, looking around and smiling. "It's incredibly beautiful, Mother, both the dark forest and the bright forest. I've walked under boughs that have laid armies low, and I now sit beneath mushroom caps that are just as mighty." "Alara, please, I have made mistakes. I've rescinded the bounty, but please, what's happened? Are you safe?" her mother asks. Alara smiles. It looks like both of them went through soul-searching. "I am safer here than I've been any other place, except perhaps the dark forest. I'm not a sorcerer, but both forests regard me fondly. I am protected here," Alara assures her. As for what's happened, well, after the forest was established and the bounty hunters forced to back off. Her mother holds up a hand for silence after she gets a rather pointed glare. "Alara, Look, I wasn't exactly raised. I'm not going to make an excuse. I've done a lot of thinking, a lot of soul-searching. Do you even want to be my heiress?" Duchess Psalm asks, and Alara pauses entirely. This was not what she expected. I don't know. Despite everything, Mother, I don't hate you. There's resentment, yes, but not hate, not really," Alara says before grabbing onto one of her horns and giving it a bit of a twist. Of course the horn doesn't move, but the motion is like a tick to get her mind working harder. "I just need space, I need it still, but others need something else, and I'm not going to deny them." "Forget others, Alara. What about you?" "I need this too. I need to give this to them." "Give what to them?" Duchess Psalm asks. "And to whom?" "I need the funds to open up an orphanage for abused boys," Alara Psalm says straight away. "The sorcerers have allies, and some of them decided to go back to their usual routine after helping the sorcerers. They then promptly fell face first into a massive child trafficking and exploitation ring. The Lilb Tulelb scandal. Yes, most of the children still have families to go home to, but over 1,000 do not. Furthermore, one of their biggest sources of comfort is the bright forest. So they need to stay on planet. They need to be here, on this world, to be as safe as they can and to heal as thoroughly as possible. Someone needs to look out for them. Someone needs to show the way to a better future and wipe away the blood and filth of the past without forgetting the tragedy that caused it."
"And you intend to do that?" Duchess Psalm asks incredulously. "Yes, I will be doing so. These children need help. I need purpose and direction to call my own. I help them, I help myself, and I grow into someone actually worthy of being the heir of Psalm," Alara Psalm says, and Duchess Psalm regards her oddly for a few moments, and then she smiles. "Very well, my daughter. It's long delayed, but it is time. I'm going to set up a fund. Contact me again tomorrow and it will be ready by then. These funds are not unlimited, however. You will have to justify expenses to receive more. Show me how you make an orphanage work. Show me how you rear and educate children who have been through trauma. Show me how you keep them safe. Show me how you rule, my child," Duchess Psalm promises, and Alara Psalm nods. "I will, don't you worry. I refuse to fail or falter." "Where did you get that attitude?" Duchess Psalm asks. "I've been in good company the last few days.